am now recording.
Okay, the wizard, solid S tier. He's very funny, and good air control. Actually, wait, no. He falls off an HP, so I would have to give him an A tier.
Okay.
Also, he's overused.
Alright, giant bomber.
No. We're gonna start. We'll go from the top. What about
God, you're
Expo?
so fast.
I don't play Clash Royale, so.
The Expo is a pretty funny card to come across, but also it's pretty difficult to use. I wouldn't put it above B tier, but I also wouldn't put it in like D tier, maybe C tier. In the Zap, I would say A or S.
I like Thunder Spell. It's pretty good. Yeah.
The Zappies. Everyone thought they were going to be meta when they were added in a really fun card. They are fun, don't get them wrong, but they're not really that good, so I would give them a C tier. The Healer, she's only used in Elite Barbarian decks, and those are annoying, so give them a D tier.
Log, yeah,
Barbarian Log, or whatever it's called. It's a pretty good card. I would give it a high C.
Okay.
Okay, that in my opinion,
Bomb Tower.
my favorite building. So I would compromise and say at least a B.
I don't know. It's high C at least. Put it down to high C. Can we agree on that? Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be okay with that. Okay, the Bomber. Since they did that thing where they lowered his cost to 2, he went up a bit. I would say he would be a D tier before, but now he's definitely like a mid to high C tier.
Okay, so you guys have on lousy tiers.
Okay. The Bowler. The Bowler is hilarious, and like mass Bowler decks are always super fun in like those Elixir challenges.
He's just a bunch of balls rolling.
I would give him B tier for Bowler.
Okay.
And
Cannon.
I wouldn't say the Cannon's better than the Bomb Tower, but it's not that much worse.
It's like...
Better than the Expo. It's better than the Expo, it's not better than Bomb Tower. Yeah, right there.
Maybe.
The Cannon card. If you can use it properly, I would give it a high tier, but since it has such low health with its original starting thing, I couldn't put it above C tier. Maybe like low C. It doesn't really ever get its job done. The Clone Spell is really only used in duo battles, but in duo battles it can be really effective, so I would give it the B tier. The Dark Prince. In my opinion, than the Prince, but
What?
people would,
No, it's worse than the Prince.
I would disagree.
No.
Even if you say that, it would still be a B tier.
I get, yeah, but...
Both of the Princes would be in B tier, at least. They're both really good cards. The Dark Goblin. I feel like the Dark Goblin...
This train.
I don't know where the Dark Goblin would go. It's kind of
You
funny,
guys
but...
haven't heard the train for a while, have you?
Yeah.
Train?
And where do you say Dark Goblin goes?
Dark Goblin? It's like...
I would say Heidi.
I mean...
You don't really see that often.
Better than Healer.
Yeah. The Archers, they're like a solid high C, low B tier.
I'll put on low B.
Earthquake spell at that, honestly, either bottom of D or F. Oh, you do see decks with this thing, and it's really good, but it's really hard to use. It's like the Cannon card, but a bit better. So I put it like above the Cannon. That card is, I hate this card, but it's so good. I would honestly just put that in S tier because of how overpowered that card is.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. It can take out your entire tower and entire army troops by itself. The Electro Spirit, it's a one costing card. It's a cheap and nice switch card. It's kind of filled the role of the Fire Spirit used to be when it was 3. I would give it like C tier above the Electro Dragon.
Are we really gonna make this a video?
Yes.
Above the Electro Dragon, not there. Above the Electro Dragon. No, that's not where the Electro
So
Dragon
boring.
Yeah, the Electro Spirit goes above the Electro Dragon.
Alright, Goblin.
This is so fucking long, bro. I'm not doing all these cards.
No, we're not done. Okay, let's keep going. The Electro Wizard. Honestly, it's a pretty solid card overall.
Okay, finish up. Just keep saying tiers. Okay, this will take too long.
Mid B.
Okay, go.
I said mid B.
I thought you said. Okay, go.
The Elite Barbarians, I would say, are a bit above the Wizard.
Yeah, like I know where the fucking wizard is.
Wizard's an A tier.
Okay, but I don't play Clash Royale. Just say the tier.
The pump is low D tier. Not really used and only real good in 2 decks. The Elixir Golem.
He's funny.
I wouldn't say he's in B tier, but he's definitely really good for where he is. I'd put him above like the Barbarians with the log between the bum.
Holy shit! Please hurry up.
The Executioner.
You don't need to like say their name and like explain their backstory. Like you
Yes,
could just
I do.
like
every single one. It's funny.
Let's skip to Mini Pekka.
Gio's here. Where would you put the Executioner?
What is this in terms of?
Clash Royale.
No, but like in terms of their viability or
Just how good and fun and funny they are. And just everything. Just how much we like them.
that
How good.
Executioner is very good. He's just not fun and funny.
Yeah, so I would say B tier, right? Would you agree?
I guess, yeah.
Okay. The Fire Spirit. Since the nerf they gave it, like pre-nerf I would say high B, but post-nerf I would say low C.
No, it's like B. What the hell are you talking about?
A D. Below the Dark Goblin.
It's the worst out of the spirits.
The arrows, they got buffed recently. I would honestly say high C.
You really like
The
C tier.
The Fireball I would say is a B tier spell. Maybe like
Yeah.
that's like an A tier. That card is stupid. It's overpowered. The Fisherman, you don't really see it that often, and it only works in certain decks, but when it does work, it works well.
Most of these are just based on how well you can use them.
Yeah.
Like, you
I'd say-
can't say that some certain decks the Fisherman is good in. Like, I think it's a decent card. I don't think it's very good.
I would say like high to mid C.
I don't get it. The mini package just does his job better.
Yeah. The Flying Machine, I would say that's a high D tier. The Free Spell, it used to be meta, but it's not really anymore. Maybe like
What happened to it?
Whenever someone carries the free spell, they have a deck that revolves around the free spell.
yeah.
The free spell isn't something you can just put in
Yeah,
a deck.
honestly, even then, I would say B tier. You don't really see that often, but
That's pretty garbage. It's like D.
I would say high D. Yeah.
This
The
is like you.
Giant, he's like the most overall average mega tank.
He's so slow that he never reaches the tower, and his HP just doesn't cut it anymore compared to the other tanks they have now.
Yeah, I would say low C. Not quite D, but they changed how he works a lot recently.
The giant skeleton does a lot of death damage to towers, and
but
he also they
usually
give
he
him.
doesn't get the power.
No, he does now. Also, his punch deals a lot more damage. Like he can actually beat the mini pack in a 1v1.
Low B.
Yeah. As far as tanks go, he's got to be up there.
Snowball is just strictly worse than the Zap.
Yeah, it also has a long like activation time.
Yeah,
No,
I would give it a D tier.
Honestly, I'd give it an F.
Yeah, even.
It's just why.
The
Goblin
Goblin
Barrel-
Barrel is a good card. I would say
It's
like
not-
mid.
Yeah, mid B. That's a good placement.
Dragon used to be meta, but it's not really anymore. But it hasn't really fallen off. I would say mid to high C. What about you?
I guess it's mid C, high C. Yeah.
You see this card a lot, and when it's used, it's usually used pretty well.
The,
I would say
the idea behind it isn't to like just throw it down. It's just to delay or to add to a delayed push. Like, it's just an extra troop that you don't have to spend elixir on, essentially. It's also good for
Yeah.
distracting hog riders and
So
stuff.
I would say like mid high C as well. Maybe above the elixir golem. Yeah, no, I'd say between the elixir golem and fisherman, somewhere in that area.
This guy.
It's just strictly worse than most other tanks. It's not bulky enough to be considered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where?
It's still a C tier, but
You're like C tier, you're not harsh enough.
am I roboting?
No.
Hey, Hut. What is this?
I would say below the
I'd say that's
maybe high D tier.
yeah, it's D tier, definitely. Goblins
Wait.
themselves-
1 moment. The stream's not loading for me. Give me a moment. Okay, so where are we putting the golem?
Golem? I think Golem is A.
Honest?
No, not goblins. Goblins are garbage.
Goblins
Oh,
are D.
They're just strictly worse than the Goblin Gang. Golem's easily an A tier. Just because
Graveyard.
Graveyard's an F. Garbage card.
Yeah, it's
It
just
has-
fallen off.
It's way too expensive for the amount of weaknesses it has.
The skeleton guards, they're not really used ever,
No,
but
you know what?
they're not.
The guards are just a better version of the goblins, so like low C. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Because they can easily stop charge cards and everything.
The heal spirit is actually a pretty good spirit. It's not.
Yeah,
It's not bad.
heal spirit's nice and cheap. You can throw it down with a hog rider and make a decent push out of it.
I would honestly say even low B for it, because it's really good with barbarians and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
That's the balloons and A tier.
Balloons like A tier definitely.
Hog riders and S tier.
Yeah, S. Hunter's either top C or low B.
Yeah,
You don't-
I would say top C.
Ice Golem's a really effective tank. You don't see it much anymore because it's basically just meant to divert pushes for a bit.
I would still give it a low B.
Yeah, that's a fair placement.
The ice spirit is the best spirit.
I'd say that's an A, like a low A.
The ice was definitely a B tier, but I don't know where in B tier. Goblin drill. It doesn't really work. It's easily
It's
counted.
too new to really consider.
It's in my opinion, it's a bit worse than like I would say it's 1 tier below the Goblin Barrel, which is in B, so I'd give it a C.
No, I kind of disagree. It's more like a Goblin Hut than anything else.
Yeah.
Like, you put it up on the enemy side, but like they
Even
fire
then,
at
low C tier seems right.
it just gets broken.
The Goblin Gang is
Probably A,
yeah, I would say mid A.
just because it's like the Skeleton Army.
The Inferno Dragon. Whenever it's used really effectively.
Or it's just easily countered. It depends on what you're fighting with it.
Yeah. I would
It's
give it a
too-
mid B.
It's too inconsistent to consider being really high, but B is good, yeah.
Yeah. The Inferno Tower, I would honestly give an A tier.
Really?
When it's used correctly, which is quite often, it just shreds things.
No, it's just because you always stick your Royal Giant down in the bridge. And you
Yeah,
expect
okay,
it to
yeah.
have
I
a
would
healing.
put beside the like Inferno Dragon, I guess. Then
Like, it works, but not well.
yeah, beside the Inferno
B
Dragon.
tier is fine.
The
Honestly,
the Knight
Knight's-
is
Knight-
underrated too.
I think Knight's A tier.
Yeah, I would agree. It's not high A tier, but definitely. The Lava Hound,
Lava Hound is just not that good.
I would say above the Goblin Giant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as aerial cards go, it's not one that you really would want.
I haven't used the Lightning since they buffed it. I don't think you have either. But even then, when it's usually pretty good when it's used.
C tier is fine.
See.
Like somewhere in there.
That's a pretty high A tier, honestly.
Yeah,
It does its job and it's really consistent.
Lumberjack is a hard card because it either really is garbage or it
Or it's
works
amazing.
sometimes.
I would put it maybe beside the Electro Dragon. Or not the Electro Dragon, the Electro Wizard.
Bro, I don't know. Like,
That's mid B.
He's in mid B tier beside the Inferno.
yeah, just say mid B, bruh, and they'll be like, oh, next to the Electro Dragon.
Magic Archer has a lot of range, but he fires his little tiny spindly arrows.
Yeah, and he doesn't do that much damage either and has low HP.
And he has fast attack speed.
He's not a
He's
B
really
tier,
min maxed.
for sure.
He's really min maxed.
Maybe like close to high C, but not entirely in there quite yet. That's an S tier. That card is stupid and overpowered.
Yeah, Mega Knight's S tier for sure.
Mega Minion is somehow overrated and underrated at the same time.
I mean overrated. I never see it, but it's really good.
Yeah. People perceive it as a bigger threat than it is, but people also perceive it as a little less threat than it is.
I mean, if you just stick it down, it can't really get to the tower on its
Yeah.
own.
I would put it at like top of C.
Hmm,
It's not top.
fair enough.
The Miner. You
The
don't see it
Miner
anymore.
is just not good. Like-
Yeah. It's a good user for the Knight. The Knight just does it better.
Yeah. It does 2 low damage. It has reduced tower damage. It's got to be like C or somewhere in there. It's just not
Yeah.
that good.
Let's see. The Mini P.E.K.K.A.
Minipeg is
like A tier or top of B?
yeah. It's a good counter to those like semi tanky.
I'd say
damage
top of
cards.
B.
Like it's good for fighting off tanks and bowlers and like princes and stuff. Minion Horde is just too expensive.
It's too expensive for how much health it has.
Well, a zap can completely cripple it. Arrows can completely cripple it.
A wizard can.
Personally, I think the bats are better.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe like in the upwards of like C tier. Not that high up, like there, yeah. That's just better than the Minion Horde because it's cheaper, even though it has less. It's usually perceived as less of a threat. It's not. I would say between Mega Knight and Bomb Tower and C tier near the top,
Mega Knight is an A tier.
or Mega Minion, same thing. The Mirror, that's a really interesting card.
I don't even think you can like aptly rate the mirror.
Yeah.
Nobody really carries it. It's pretty weak, really. Gotta be D or F. So many spells in F. The Mortar's a tough one because the Expo is just better, and you have the Expo rated really low. So
I would say high D tier, maybe above the Dark Goblin.
Oh,
Okay.
Barbarian Barrel's probably one of the best spells in the game.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely near the clone spell up there.
Yeah, it's up there with like Fireball, Clone, and Freeze and B tier.
It's just people don't use it properly, so it's got to be like high B.
Neither of us have really played with this card yet, but from what we've experienced.
It's funny, you put it in S.
Yeah, it's that funny. I would put an S just for that. It's also pretty good.
Like,
Musketeer.
it's a good counter to a lot of common threats.
The Musketeer is a really good replacement for the Wizard in
The
certain decks.
yeah. It doesn't have AoE, but it has the damage.
It's.
It's cheaper.
I wouldn't put it in A tier though. But it's also not. It's a B tier.
No, it's more akin to like the Magic Archer and the Mega Minion and everything, but like slightly better, so like low B.
Yeah. The Night Witch is just worse than the Witch. it's still an okay card, so it would still give it like a C tier. Maybe mid C, yeah. The Pekka is probably one of the better tanks in the game.
I actually think Pekka's ARS with all the buffs going around right now.
Yeah.
It's one of the best tanks just because it works really well. Probably low to mid A.
The poison has gotten another takeoff recently with Mega Tank decks.
Poison deals a lot of damage. It has a wide area, but it's like delayed damage. So if you don't use it properly, it doesn't work well.
Maybe high B.
It's got to be close to the fireball.
Move the fireball up to high B. They both should go up there.
Well, as long as it's in B, it doesn't really matter.
Okay, the princess is a mid A. I put it beside the firecracker. Yeah, right there.
Shit. Okay.
Okay.
Prince is pretty average. Like,
Yeah.
he basically does the same job as a mini P.E.K.K.A, except he's like fast. But
No.
he's easily stopped.
I don't know. Nukes put Dark Prince in B tier, and he said. Great.
What do you say?
Nukes
No, that's
put.
fine.
Oh.
The rage spell.
The rage spell's really good. It's definitely A, because just how cheap and effective it is.
The Ram Rider, it's not as good as the Hog Rider.
But it's so replaceable via the Hog Rider that it almost doesn't have any presence of its own.
Yeah, it's not a bad card though. I would still give it like a low B because it's still a good card. It's just the Hog Rider is easier and better to get. Okay, this card just kind of fell off.
I've never seen this really used. It's got to be like low C or D.
Yeah, I would say mid D honestly. This is probably they buffed this quite a bit recently, but even then,
No, it's bad. It's
I would say
gotta be.
I would say it's out of F tier. It's out of F tier, but it's still low D. The rocket, it's the funniest spell in the game.
The rocket is very fun.
It's tied for the funniest spell in the game in my opinion. The lug is also up there. I would have to give the rocket is just a good card in 2v2s as well. I would have to give it like low A, just because of how funny it is, and it's actually good in certain metas.
I don't know.
Really never seen.
I don't know actually. It's relatively good. It's like probably B, not high B, but
Okay, in my opinion, the Royal Ghost. I use it in my main deck. It's a mid B.
What is going on to Baba's background right now?
Like, yeah, like not that high up in B tier, but definitely it's rather low B tier, but not at the bottom. The Royal Giant. Honestly, I would have to give it an A tier. It's kind of crazy if you can use it correctly.
yeah, it's A tier as well.
The Hogs are probably one of the worst tower targeting cards. They're not.
Like they jump across the lake and they split really easily. So you see them a lot in the higher play. I think they deserve at least a high B. They're not bad. Definitely not.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I think we have one of our first Fs. For how good they are, they're just not cost. It's definitely top of F.
They get spread in just this terrible line across the field.
The skeleton army is I'd put it beside the goblin gang.
Yeah, Skirmy's easy A.
Here.
Skeleton Army's easy A.
The skeleton barrel is really good if used correctly.
I'd say high B, just because it's cheap. Even if you fumble it, you still got like 8 skeletons on the ground because of it.
That's just worse than the baby dragon. Where is the baby?
It's like
Baby dragon's like a D tier. It's a D tier.
Low C, high D, or mid D, whatever.
The skeleton.
Honest, you want my actual opinion? Skeletons are probably S tier. Now you might disagree
I
with
wouldn't
that.
disagree. Certain decks they just work.
You can put them down whenever. They easily counter shit like the P.E.K.K.A. Anything that has slow.
This guy's the
And-
main guy, isn't he? Like it's on like the
Hey.
covers and stuff.
The
Okay.
barbarian. Since they got their update, adding it to 5 barbarians, they high C to mid B. Where would you say?
Really? This guy's like that? I thought he'd be higher because he's like the guy that's on the screens, you know.
No, he's kind of just not the best.
I put him like below,
I'd be low A.
below the giant skeleton B tier.
Alright.
Yeah, because I know where that is. Right here.
It's the skeleton with the hat. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. If you actually not playing like a load of shit, this is one of the easiest cards in the game to counter.
It's not that easy.
Okay, I think I beat Portal.
Nice.
Hmm.
Gotta be at least top C.
Yeah.
That's not top C, but
But,
sure.
I mean, it's like 3 away. Okay. Good at reading. Whatever.
That's just strictly worse than the Goblin Gang and the Goblin Barrel.
Exactly. It's probably right next to the goblins.
No, I put it low C.
Really?
It's just it's better than the Goblins. His range. The Tesla. It's probably currently the best building in the game.
The best building in the game.
Honestly, I could argue S tier. High A or S. One of those two. The log.
The log. That sounds funny.
I don't.
I'd
Not-
say top A. If it could hit air, it'd be S.
Yeah.
Because it's a zap with bigger range and damage.
Okay. Three
Okay.
Musketeers isn't used anymore.
No, D tier.
Yeah,
Bad.
D tier. Okay, that's a pretty good card.
The Tombstone is like an optimal counter for the Hog Rider.
Yeah.
Well, like any tower targeting cards.
I
They get
would you get an A
bad.
tier or high B?
High B, right next to Skeleton Barrel.
The Tornado.
You know.
It's a really good spell. It's one of the better ones. For
The
sure.
A tier spells are all pretty deserving of their spots.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I put it with the rest of the spells in B tier.
Yeah, I'm gonna move these 2 up because it's 2 little S tiers. Didn't you say these were good?
I'd swap the log and the elite barbs, honestly.
What?
The guys at the top of A tier, put them in S tier.
That?
I know, just that. Just leave it there.
Okay.
The Valkyrie.
Valkyrie's S tier.
Okay.
For how cheap they are and the amount of damage they do, if you can catch someone off guard.
Mid to low B,
Yeah, B is a good placement for them.
the Witch.
The Witch is pretty fucking awful after the recent updates.
Yeah, they nerfed her, didn't they?
She has to be like at least mid to low C. That's the best we can really do.
Put her above the Night Witch at least.
The Night Witch is considered better now.
Okay, well, where to put these?
Bats are like
That's her an A tier.
sure they die to a single zap.
We haven't really played with these cards.
We
so-
can't really rate the champions.
Yeah,
Just put them-
don't rate the champions. We
Just
don't-
put them in S, honestly. They're all really good.
They're all kind of crazy.
So all of them in S?
The Archer Queen is a range card that deals a lot of damage and can go invisible
Okay,
when
so
she
this is,
takes
this is the list you guys got?
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.